everybody, Dr. Shadi, Ireifej here, board certified surgeon, chief of specialty, part owner, TrueCare for Pets, Studio City, Los Angeles, California. I am here today with Lindsay.
Hey.
Lindsay and I are going to talk today about online criticism?
Reviews? Yeah,
reviews. Yelp, of course, being the big one, but there's probably others.
Oh yeah, there's Google reviews.
Okay.
Facebook, you can leave reviews.
Any kind of social media, probably, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about reviews and how they impact the veterinary community, because obviously these online reviews have become a huge moving force in how companies operate. I mean, it really changed the way certain professional establishments, conduct the way they do business.
Well, even think about your day-to-day life. If you're planning a dinner with your friends, where do you go to look for a place?
Sure.
Yelp?
Well, I don't look at all, but people do. People look.
But even if you Google, let's say you Google miniature golfing,
right.
and what comes up, 4.5 out of
right.
6 stars. And those are all dictated by random people that have gone to these places. And if you or me were on the street and some random person was like, oh, this place is horrible, I'm kind of be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, go there.
But we take it as gospel when we read it online.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty amazing how much of an impact these reviews have. And yeah, you're right. These are people that we don't know. We don't know who's commenting on this stuff. We just assume if they're taking the time out of their busy schedule to put on some comments, good or bad, about an establishment, we tend to believe them, I guess.
Yeah, and if you go and you look at a company's reviews, 99% of the time it's two extremes, right? It's people that loved it and people that hated it, right?
Yeah.
You don't see that, this was great, I would have liked this, but, it was good, I'd still try it. Most of the reviews that you see are very extreme.
Just like our country is right now.
Oh my God, really?
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Let's get back.
Let's get back on track.
So you're not getting, in my opinion, an accurate representation. You're getting the radicals.
Right.
The two polar ends, and there's 90% of that company's business that just doesn't take the time. So why do we take that as gospel when we're referring to a restaurant, a veterinary hospital, a miniature golf place?
Yeah.
Why?
Well,
why?
I mean, it makes sense that the most extreme views are the ones that are going to be posted, right? Because if you think about it, if those extreme views represent the most passion, whether it's good or bad, but the most passionate opinions on an establishment, those are probably the people that have the most, I guess, commitment to commenting online. People who are in the gray area, the middle zone, who are it was okay, it was good. I don't know if I'd go there again, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. Maybe those people just don't have the fervor to go online because it's whatever, that was fine.
Yeah, it was memorable, but then we're missing out on the majority of the people that are patronizing these places.
Sure.
And we're not getting an accurate representation. So I feel like although we all depend on it so much, I think we should put a little less weight.
Emphasis on it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If a place still has 3 stars and you go through and it's all negative and all positive, maybe it's, closer to being better, but you just don't know.
Right.
If somebody tells me, oh, that person is horrible, you should hate them, I'm still going to go meet them and interact with them and then decide for myself if I hate them or not. But we don't do that with businesses most of the time. We're like, oh, this place has 1 star, not touching it,
right.
not touching it.
Right.
So how does that apply to us as the veterinary community is really interesting.
Yeah, and so these comments that people will leave behind on social media platforms and websites and what have you are really causing a huge impact for the veterinary profession. Yeah, sure, we can focus on the positive aspects of it, but you really nothing better stimulates conversation than the negative side of a story. And so we're actually going to be focusing really on this episode with how do these negative reviews affect the veterinary community in general.
Yeah, and how are we as TrueCare for Pets trying to combat that? And I think an overarching theme for any veterinarian's Yelp page or Google review page is going to be cost. So that's the number one thing I think that I've seen negative Yelp reviews for was they're only in it for the money.
Mm-hmm. They cost too much. I can't believe they charge this much. They don't care about animals. They just want the money.
I will tell you, if you were a non-veterinary professional listening to this, nobody in the veterinary community went into this thinking they were going to make money. We don't make money off this.
Right.
And I think they forget that we operate just like any other business. We have overhead, we have staff, we have bills, we have consumables, we have all these things that we have to pay for. Trust me, we would do everything for free if we could, but we wouldn't be able to pay anyone.
Right.
Or pay our rent, or be able to service the community. So people need to have a broader kind of interpretation of what too much is, I think.
I mean, and look at the differences in establishments. So if you go to a shelter that has a veterinarian or a handful of veterinarians, they're there working because they're bleeding hearts, right? They want to take care of all the animals in the world. But they also, because their demographic is such, they can't really offer services at a high fee. Well, then their establishment is going to be a little bit less state of the art. They're not going to have the most skilled people there. They're not going to have the most fancy equipment there. They're not going to have the most state of the art facility there. But that is in line with how much they're charging their clients. Now, if you want the best of the best, you want the latest, the greatest, the state of the art, the most skilled individuals, like an establishment like TrueCare for Pets. Well, that overhead, that level of skill and patient care comes an overhead cost. And that overhead cost is only fueled by the money that you are going to be putting down for your pet's procedures or treatments. So you can't really have it both ways. You can't really, unless you get some kind of unless you get some kind of backing from a very, very rich person who just wants to donate a ton of money, then I guess you could have an establishment like ours that gives everything away to clients for pet services, but that's by no means the norm. And so these things have to come from somewhere.
Yeah, and I don't think people, when they walk in, think, oh, they're charging me this much for x-rays. I wonder how much that x-ray machine costs. I wonder what the cost is to keep up that machine. And they're just thinking we're ripping them off. I think that if the community could understand how hurtful that is to most of the staff who work, technicians can work 10, 12, up to 17-hour shifts. So can doctors. And we're doing this out of the love of the profession. We're not making millions. We're making, a check to try to survive just like everyone else. And I think people just like to throw that in there, like kind of put the knife where they think it's going to hurt the most.
Salt in the wound.
Yeah. And then you get people burning out in this field. You have veterinarians leaving the field. You have technicians leaving the field. And I don't think people understand that lack of appreciation and compassion fatigue and things like constant negative Yelp reviews really play into that.
Yeah. These complaints online don't do anything constructive for us. You can complain all you want about the finances, but our prices aren't going to change, and so really those kinds of complaints are fruitless. The only thing it does do is hurt morale, which maybe is your goal. Maybe your goal when you complain about finances on a Yelp review or some other online platform, maybe your goal is just to hurt us. Which, fine, you did it, good job. Doesn't mean we're not going to stop doing what we do. We're still going to provide the best care we can, provide compassion for our pet owners and animals, and try to keep saving lives. And you just look like a jackass by complaining about it.
Wow. Yeah, you got a little angry. You got a little angry there. You're a little angry. My new favorite aspect to this, which I've seen maybe over the past 5 years or so, is clients deciding to use these platforms as blackmail. And I don't think they think about it like that, but that's what it is. So as a hospital manager, I would say I take maybe averaging out 1 to 2 calls a week where clients are like, if you don't give me money or you don't do what I'm asking, I'm going to write a negative Yelp review. And that is essentially blackmail. It's not the kind where I can call the cops and say, this person's extorting me or whatever, but it is at the end of the day blackmail. And my answer has and will always be, you can do whatever you feel you need to, but I'm not going to bend because you're threatening me with the review.
Right.
You have freedom of speech, say what you need to say, but it's not going to work in terms of blackmail. I'm not going to give in to that as a manager.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, an establishment like ours can only be successful if we provide excellent care. We have the vast majority of our clients are incredibly pleased with our work. And so a threat like that does not carry any weight. you certainly are not going to win us over with that kind of charm. That's for sure. We're much less likely to help you if you're going to act that way. But also your threat is useless because we are successful. We continue to grow. We're getting busier and busier every week. And we have the latest and greatest in technology here in our skill set with our staff members. So your threat is not going to do anything to dissuade us from doing what we're doing.
I think people forgot that lesson. I think you learn in kindergarten, like flies with honey versus vinegar, right? So like if you as an owner call me and you say, look, I spent all this money, I really didn't have it, this was the situation, or even better, if you tell me that before you pay, I can probably do something to help, or I can try, I can find out if everything's necessary, but calling me after the fact and threatening me doesn't really help. So if you're an owner listening to this, don't sign estimates and don't give your credit card for things you truly can't afford and then have buyer's remorse after. Be open, communicate about it. So with that being said, I want to talk about what we're doing as a hospital to help and what I've seen other hospitals do to help combat this. So what my goal is to get some of those middle people to post reviews. They're happy, they're satisfied with the service, but they don't think about it, right? So we ask our clients, hey, if you were really happy with the service we provided, would you mind writing this review? Or, can you please review us if you have a moment, to try to get these people that may not be on either polar end, but were happy, or maybe they were satisfied, but we could have done something better, but still put out reviews that kind of help reflect better what's going on. We don't offer incentives to the clients or anything like that. We just ask them, person to person.
Take a little bit of time, from your busy schedule, go online and help direct other concerned pet owners where they should go for care for their pets.
And I do believe that it is illegal to offer clients, not illegal, but frowned upon, to offer clients financial or other incentives for Yelp reviews. So I don't recommend doing that if you're a hospital. But what you can do, what I've seen other hospitals do, is have incentives that aren't given to the client. So if you post a review, for every review that's posted, positive, negative, whatever, we will donate, X number of dollars to a rescue.
That's smart.
Or, we'll do this or that for the community. And that way we're incentivizing them to post their feelings or, a brief synopsis of their visit or, their opinions of our practice without monetarily incentivizing the client directly.
Sure,
we're not bribing people, just like we prefer not to be extorted.
Sure, 100%. Yeah, we've always gone based on our own morals and ethics here. That's what drives us. Not threats, not negative or positive reviews. We do what we do because it's the right thing to do for the pets.
Yeah. And I mean, some of these Yelp reviews you just got to let go as a practice owner or any business owner. There's, I want to say, a Jimmy Kimmel skit with angry Yelp reviews. And Aziz Ansari reads them. It is hilarious. If you need to laugh about Yelp reviews, you guys should Google that.
That's fantastic.
Like Aziz Ansari reads Yelp reviews, because some of them are just comical.
Sure.
And at the end of the day, there's not much you can do to control it. So let's just try to flood our platforms with positive reviews if we can, or just get people on there. And
to some degree, it's a cowardly move. If you really have a concern or a complaint with the establishment, have you even tried to talk to the establishment about what your concerns were to see if you can help rectify it?
I know.
Or do you just run online, in your basement and type some little ditty up on there? What a coward! You don't even use your real name, on there.
They never do. I spend hours upon hours trying to figure out who said something in a Yelp review. And a lot of times it's because I want to reach out to that client, not because I'm trying to get them to take the Yelp review down, but a lot of times there's legitimate concerns that are posted in those reviews. Like maybe they feel like, something wasn't explained, or maybe they feel like there's a charge they don't understand or whatever. So if I can help clarify that for them, or if it's a teaching point for my staff, I want to be able to go through it. But I've spent days on days trying to figure out who Sarah S is, and that's not that person's first name or the first letter of their last name.
So if you're brave enough to go to complain about us, and you're gonna run to the internet to do it, well then at least man up and put up your real name so we can handle it like adults.
Wow. Okay.
Things just got real again.
Yeah.
My apologies.
You're a little heated on this topic.
So I hope this helps clarify what our thoughts on the reviews online. And we do have I have an earlier podcast in our series that talks about a little bit about that sort of concern as well regarding medical board cases. Feel free to seek that out. I also have a YouTube channel with a video that talks about buyer's remorse. If that helps anybody as well, take a look at that. Follow us on Instagram, and like I said, YouTube and this podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Lindsay, for being on this one. And we'll talk to you guys in the next podcast episode.
Bye.
Bye.